sometimes you just know something is wrong, or you disagree with it. You know it, and you don't need to verify. You don't need to second guess yourself, and this happens when you don't think something through. There's the downside that you didn't think it through, but at the same time, there's the upside, the benefit that you didn't think it through. Over time, and time is the greatest teacher, by the way, because you keep bumping your head, and if you start paying attention, you realize over time what the real lessons are. In time, I've come to realize that, and I'll try to keep this simple. I won't get too deep into it because things can get complicated. They can get complicated, and then they can get problematic. In time, I have learned that thinking, we demonize being thoughtless, but, for all its supposed benefits, thinking is always going to introduce an element of second guessing. And that's a problem. You have to know that right out of the gate. When you're thinking something through in a cerebral way, I guess, when you're going past the intuition, and you can't really mix these two things. You can't mix the intuition and the rational mind. You got to pick one. I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying, once you introduce the rational mind, once you get logical and start puzzling shit out, so to speak, you got to understand that the entry fee, it's prepaid, right? This fee is, whether or not you pay it at the gate when you walk in, it's going to get paid. You have to know that. Once you introduce that logical sort of way of processing things, you go past the intuition, right? And you forego it. You start using logic and rationale. Once you're in that world, second guessing is part of the equation. And with all its accoutrement, sorry, I had to do that, I'm sorry. Everything that comes with it, the benefits and the downsides. So you got to know, are you willing to pay that price? When you think a thing through, there's going to be second guessing involved. Now, second guessing can be good when you need to verify shit, but sometimes, I might even hazard to say, I want to say many or even most times, second guessing is going to bring problems that its benefits are not going to outweigh, so just some food for thought. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to, I'm going to take a word of my own advice, unspoken advice, but at this moment, I think I'm implying that sometimes it's best not to overthink things, right? Because I'm the best at, not the best maybe, but I'm up there. I'm pretty good at doing that. So I speak from experience. I'm going to take my own advice here, which again, I'm implying to give, and I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not going to expound any further. I'm not going to sorry. I'm not going to elaborate.